focusing on our rich history in the community, celebrating the people and events that make this the great place we call home. Wave presents Wave Country with Dawn G.
Hey there, Wave Country. Thank you for joining me, Dawn G. Great day. A little gray out there, but that's okay. We're inside, ready for a Wednesday. We've got the show packed. 30 minutes of just some great things going on. Yim is here. We will talk about Yim. It is their store there on Fourth Preston Street. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about Fourth Presbyterian Church. I messed up. Yim is a nice store. We'll talk about that in our friend's store. Fourth Presbyterian Church is here to tell us about their prom dress giveaway. This is so important for all the young people, all the young ladies that need a prom dress. We're also getting ready for the eclipse. You're going to hear so much about the eclipse that you're going to be ready to teach a class about the eclipse. It is so true. Greg Miller is here. This is pretty good to talk about, though, because we're not going to have another eclipse until when?
It's going to be at least 20 years before there'll be another one in the U.S.
So 20 years. So I could see it an eclipse before I'm not here again, right?
Yeah. So there's usually an eclipse like every couple of years. There's one in 2026, but even still, they're actually usually in places that you really can't get to. Like the 2026 one is mostly around the North Pole and northern Greenland, and
but we can't go there.
You could if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But the big thing about this is it's going through a lot of populated cities, a lot of populated area that is just easy to get to. So. We're excited about it because it's close,
yeah.
But people from around the world are also looking at this one as really one of their best opportunities to see an eclipse, because even though there is one every couple of years, they're usually just not easy to get to. So this is really one that everybody around the world is doing it. So if you're local, you should definitely seize the opportunity, because it's not going to get any better for a long time.
So is that the only thing that's different about this eclipse? Is it's going to be accessible?
Yeah, well, there's a few other things. It actually is longer than most other eclipses. Like the one in 2017, that was 2.5 minutes if you were right dead center. This one's 4.5, so considerably longer. And it's also, the sun goes through periods of activity where it's low and then high. The 2017, it was actually really low activity, and now we're coming up on a solar maximum. So there's explosions on the sun that you can actually see on the edge of totality, and then the corona, which is the sun's atmosphere. It's all that glowing that you see around. That's going to be a little bit more intertwined and a little more active this time around.
Okay, you're with the Louisville Astronomical Society.
Correct.
And talk about what you all do.
We do mostly public outreach, so we have meetings every so often, but usually a lot of our members will set up at the Big Four Bridge and just let people look through their telescopes. We actually have a building at Tom Sawyer Park that the state gave us, so we have events out there. Recently we've been having them out at the Parklands too. So we'll just set up our telescopes and usually just looking through at planets and the moon, mostly when we're in the city. And we also have a dark site, which is out near Leavenworth, Indiana. It's that exit off 64. So that's the darkest spot within an hour of Louisville. And we have an observatory out there. We got 16-inch telescopes of 16 inches around. Really nothing like it. And then we have a handful of other telescopes that you can just kind of roll out and look at. And that's usually open to the public once a month if it's not cloudy.
Well, you all were so nice once. My dad and mom and I, we were at the park, Tom Sawyer Park, I think it was, and you all were there. You had all your telescopes set out. I forget why we were there, but something big was going on. And you let us look through your telescopes. And my dad is just a telescope nut. And it was just the neatest thing. And you all were there. There was a lot of people there, and you were discussing something was going on. I don't remember what was in the sky. Yeah, there's something always going on. So. And you were kind enough to talk about, you know, what it was and the sky and all of that. And so it was nice that you were able to be there and to teach us. So if we want to see totality, like we need to go to Indiana, right?
Well, that's the closest spot, 30 miles north on 65. the Scottsburg exit, so it's just 30 miles north, but if you're planning on literally just getting off of the Scottsburg exit, a million people have that idea.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, so really, it's really going to be a lot like parking for Oaks or Derby or something, where people are going to be selling spots to camp or just park in their yard. So usually, you're going to want to get towards the actual center line. Like Scottsburg, I mean, that's the very edge of totality. So the deeper into the line that you go, the more totality you get. So right there in Scottsburg, you probably get about a minute at that exit. When you get close to the center line, you get about 4 minutes if you're closer to Indianapolis.
All right, so where would you say the best spot is?
Well, the best spot is going to be where it's not cloudy.
We don't know where that's going to be.
We don't know that yet. So that's the thing is don't really lock yourself into any plans. I mean, don't travel there now if you're going to travel.
Yeah.
So you really need to wait and see where it's not going to be cloudy. But Bloomington is a really good spot to go. A lot of people are talking about going to like Brown County or Patoka Lake or Lake Monroe, which are all in the path of totality. But the issues with those is they don't have a lot of parking. So once they're out of parking, that's it. So you can't park on the grass or anything there.
And don't stop on the highways. They're telling you do not stop on the highways. They don't want you to do that.
That goes with your back roads too. Don't stop on the back roads because emergency vehicles still need to get through. A lot of places in Texas, that's one that has the best chance of clear skies. They've already declared emergencies and things like that.
Really?
Because they're planning on having a hard time getting emergency responders through if something happens, because people are going to block the roads.
Yeah, don't do that, you all. This is going to be cool, but let's not make it a crazy thing. What's the safest way for people to see it? I see you've got your glasses,
so
and that's what I'm so afraid of. You all, we can't, like, don't look at the sun. You're not supposed to look at the sun.
I mean, everybody knows that.
But I'm always so afraid people are going to do it anyway.
The problem is people get so excited about the eclipse. It's like they look at the sun and it hurts their eyes, but they're still excited and they kind of forget that you're supposed to look away.
And then for some people who are just like, well, what's it look like if I don't look at that? Like, what's it look like without? Don't do that. Don't do that.
It's
so
just
these are the little
blinding
glasses.
light is all it is. So basically, in the partial phase, which
now right now I can see nothing, but if I were to look up at the sun, then I would see something.
You would actually see the sun, and actually there's some sun spots on the sun that you can actually see with these right now if you go out there and look.
Because it's like I can't even see my hand. And if I do my hand, I can see absolutely nothing.
And that's because obviously nothing in here is as bright as the sun. So really only the sun is going to shine through these.
How do you know you have the right ones? Because I don't always trust people.
Now, I mean, these do say that they're ISO certified.
Is that what I'm looking for?
Yeah, but I mean, if somebody's going to print counterfeit glasses, they can print anything on them when they want.
That's true.
We haven't seen any issues with counterfeit glasses this time around. But if you do have some from old eclipses, these lenses, I mean, they're plastic. They might outlive the sun, but the frames are just paper, so they might crack on you or something like that. So if they're cheap enough, go ahead and buy a new pair.
Yeah.
So you'll use these all through the partial phase.
Okay.
And then if you're in the path of totality, you're going to see what's called Bailey's beads, which is little dots around the sun. That's basically mountains on the moon, and that's the last part of the partial phase. And after that, you can take these off.
Okay.
And then depending on where you're at, you'll have up to like 4.5 minutes of totality, and it's just going to look like there's a hole in the sky that's glowing, and you'll actually be able to see Jupiter up to the upper left, and Venus is going to be to the lower right. Some people even said there's going to be a comet, which is really, really low probability, but that chance is there. And then after, as totality starts to end, you're going to see that Bailey's beads again, and it's actually safe to look at that with your eyes.
Well,
and
just
then,
keep your glasses on. It makes you nervous.
Right after that is called the diamond ring effect, which is a tiny little bit of the sun coming out.
Yeah.
And you'll still see the corona around that. And then right after that, that's when you need to put your glasses back on.
Just keep them on. Okay? Just keep them on. Total solar eclipse, April 8th. It's going to cross from Texas to Indiana to Maine. Louisville-astro.org. That's our Louisville Astronomical Society, and we appreciate them. We have run out of time, but just real quick question. Can you take video and photos with your phone? I saw that they have covers for that for your phone.
Yeah, you can actually just use your, it's not going to hurt your phone to actually just point it at the sun and take a picture.
But you still have to keep your glasses on.
Yes, well, if you're not looking at the sun, you don't need your glasses on. So if you block the sun with your phone, you'll be fine. You can actually take your glasses and just put that in front, and that'll
just
bring the glare down.
Right. All right. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. Yim is coming up. They've got just wonderful stores. We want to tell you all about it, so stay with us. We'll be right back.